Good afternoon. This is the Board of County Commissioners meeting. It is Tuesday, August 29th, 2023. It is 2:03 p.m. I am calling this meeting to order. We usually live stream these meetings, but we are having some technical difficulties right now with the live streaming. So this meeting is being recorded and will be posted on later to our Thurston County YouTube channel. I'm Carolina Mejia. I'm the chair of the board. To my right is Vice Chair Ty Menser. To my left is Commissioner Gary Edwards. County Manager Ramiro Chavez is excused for this meeting, but we have Assistant County Manager Robin Campbell and Assistant County Manager Rob Gelder, as well as our Clerk of the Board, Jamie Codwell. With that, we'll start with the Pledge of Allegiance to be led by Commissioner Edwards.
Please join me in the pledge. I pledge allegiance
to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Next, Vice Chair Messer, would you like to do a land acknowledgement, sir?
Thank you, Madam Chair. We would also like to start today's meeting with the land acknowledgement. We would like to acknowledge and thank the Indigenous Salish peoples whose elders and ancestors have lived on and cared for the land and waterways of this county since time immemorial, and who still inhabit the area today, specifically the Squaxin Island, Nisqually, and Chehalis people, our sovereign tribal partners. Truth and acknowledgement are critical to building mutual respect and connection across all barriers of heritage and difference. The purpose of this acknowledgement is to disrupt ongoing erasure of injustices done and remember history as a stepping stone towards healing.
Thank you. Next is the approval of the Tuesday, August 29th agenda. There are some changes that were made this morning per the board's approval. Assistant County Manager, would you like to go through them?
Yes, this afternoon, items were added for the appointment to the Agritourism Advisory Committee of Jennifer Colvin, the reappointment of Andrea Levante to the Agritourism Advisory Committee, the appointment of Chad Sutter as the Recycling Industry Representative to the Thurston County Solid Waste Advisory Committee, and the board moved the item for emergency services for the joint funded agreement between the U.S. Department of the Interior and Thurston County for the operation and maintenance of river stream gauges in the county from a department item to the consent agenda.
Thank you. Any questions in regards to the changes that were made this morning, Commissioner Edwards?
No questions, thank you.
Commissioner Menser? Okay.
There were also some contract dates added to the Information Technology Department items as well, as requested previously this morning.
Thank you.
Still no questions, thank you.
Okay.
Madam Chair, I move to approve the proposed agenda as amended and described by the Assistant County Manager for today's meeting.
Second?
It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion?
No, ma'am.
I'll call for the vote.
Commissioner Edwards?
Aye.
Commissioner Menser?
Aye.
Commissioner Mejia?
Aye. Thank you. The agenda is now approved. We have two presentations today. The first presentation is a letter of recognition from the Washington State Auditor's Office.
Thank you, commissioners. I am honored to introduce to you and ask to step to the microphone our state auditor, Pat McCarthy.
Great. And thank you very much. And it's a pleasure to be here. Like I said, it was a short drive. But thank you, Chair Mejia. And it's a pleasure to be here. You know, we don't do these SASA awards, these stewardship awards, to very many entities across the state of Washington over the course of a few years that we've been doing them. So you're in a very elite group of people as a county. You know, we have 39 counties in the state of Washington, and you're one of about 4 or 5 since 2015 of counties that have been represented for doing good work. And so I'd like to introduce my staff that are here at least, so you know who's all here besides myself. Carrie Rooney, which is my chief of staff. Kelly Collins, who's the director of local audits. And Lisa Carroll, who's the manager of Team Olympia. So we have about 450 employees in the state auditor's office. I used to say we were sprinkled in 15 offices across the state, but now we're like in 450 because we do a hybrid, like many governmental entities, work from not only from home, but we work in our offices as well across the state. I'm blessed with having great staff, and I am fortunate that I get this opportunity to do recognitions on occasion from our staff who work with your staff in making sure that you're good stewards of the public's trust and good stewards of the funds that you are privy to being able to lead and to make decisions over. So I'd like to read to you the letter that I'm going to present to your chair and recognize some of your people, some of your outstanding staff. The Office of the Washington State Auditor is pleased to recognize Thurston County as an outstanding example of commitment to making government work better. Throughout our history of working with the county management and staff, they've consistently demonstrated a culture of accountability to create efficient and effective government. One way the county demonstrates its commitment to accountability and strong internal controls is by having an internal auditor, Brandon Weber, who I believe is not here, and he's not online because I don't think you're going online. Oh, he is online.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Who reports to an internal audit committee comprised of County Auditor Mary Hall, County Treasurer Jeff Gadman, and County Manager Romero Chavez, who is absent today. Through this leadership, the county demonstrates a strong tone at the top for protecting and safe handling of public resources. As the internal auditor, Brandon has been instrumental in helping the county identify processes to improve and effectively track funds. During the COVID-19 pandemic, the county distributed millions of dollars in relief funds for various purposes. Brandon played a key role in the county's effort to ensure those monies were appropriately spent and accounted for, including identifying instances where funds were not properly spent. We would also like to highlight the work of your financial services manager, Darren Bennett, who is here today, who has been with the county for many years and consistently ensures the county is organized, prepared, and responsive throughout the audit process. Under Darren's direction, the county's financial services team has earned 16 consecutive annual certificates of achievement for excellence in financial reporting from the Government Financial Officers Association. It is clear the county's management and staff want to be accountable to the citizens and good stewards of public funds. Continually striving to implement process improvements, they understand the value of our audits and have fostered a positive and professional working relationship with the Office of the Washington State Auditor. So thank you for your hard work and dedication to the citizens of Washington, and please join me in a round of applause for these dedicated staff. Like I said, this is quite an honor, and we do have a really nice little award to present to you. And as somebody who came out of local government, it's not always that you receive recognition from that outside independent set of eyes like the state auditor's office. And that's what we do. That's our job. We tell the good, the bad, and the ugly. We tell it all. And when you do something that's really significant and really a testament to good stewardship, then we want to give you an award for it. So you're in a very elite group of people. So thank you very much. And it does mean that the county commissioners participate in your leadership as well. So thank you very much. And if we could take a picture and maybe have Mary and Aaron, Eric come on up. Darren. You want to call you Eric?
Can you all look at me? 3, 2, 1. Thank you.
Great, thank you very much. Thank you.
Auditor Hall, before you go, would you like to say a couple of words?
Sure, you can always give an elected official a microphone. I just want to thank Auditor McCarthy for the recognition. You know, government employees don't get that recognition very often, especially at the top. And I do have a really fantastic dynamic team. And I also need to recognize my chief deputy, Diana Benson, who really has a lot of input and say in our internal audit program. And I hope that this award really helps you recognize how important this program is and how well it serves our county. And the reason we have all of these clean financial audits is largely because of our internal audit efforts. It also keeps more money where it's going in our community. So I just want to thank Darren, Brandon for their outstanding work, the entire financial services team, and it also goes to many, many other financial staff throughout the county. So Auditor McCarthy, thank you very much.
Well, I think I have to get up because I was sleeping at the switch when my seatmates got up. But thank you very much, all of you, because it does take a team effort to make this all happen. So thank you for coming. And I specifically got to thank Darren for sticking around because he tried to get away from us once. So thank you.
Vice Chair Menser?
I'm just thank the state auditor for being here and kind of bringing this forward and mentioning specific employees. You know, there's a lot more, obviously, as Mary said, than just who you mentioned, but that's critical because it's not us, it's those folks. And all we can do is ask questions and try to make sure that, but we don't have the skills, we don't have our nose to the grindstone. You guys are doing the work that created that and just helps us, makes us look good, makes the county look good, makes the taxpayers feel you know, stewardship, as that's the name of the award. And that's what, that builds confidence in government, which is good for everybody. So thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you, Auditor McCarthy, for coming here today. I was there when, you know, we did the final presentation, and I think I thanked all staff who participated in this because it was a huge lift, and it really, just hearing the feedback from your staff, you know, about how wonderful our staff is, you know, just made me feel proud as a commissioner and knowing that, you know, we're doing things right. So I appreciate the recognition and recognizing, you know, Darren and Brandon and the rest of the county staff who participated in this and who really made sure that the information, you know, was available and right. So, you know, thank you to all the county staff who participated in this process, and thank you for being here today. Okay, with that, we'll move on to our second presentation, which is the International Overdose Awareness Day proclamation.
Thank you, Commissioner. I'd like to invite Katie
Strozek?
Strozek, thank you, Katie, to come to the microphone.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. Katie Strozek. I'm the Opioid Response Coordinator at Public Health and Social Services. I want to first thank you for doing this proclamation multiple years in a row now. I believe this is at least the third year that this proclamation has moved forward at the county level, and it really shows that the overdose epidemic is a priority within Thurston County, and addressing it is a priority for the commissioners. Unfortunately, the opioid and overdose epidemic is something that has touched many, if not all of us in this room today. Overdose Awareness Day is an opportunity for us to not not only memorialize those who have been lost and died from a fatal overdose, but also remember all of the other areas that have been touched from overdose as well, including those who have survived a non-fatal overdose, those who have rescued someone and revived someone from an overdose with naloxone, those who have lost friends, family members, and loved ones, or been otherwise touched in some way by the opioid and overdose epidemic. Our overdose Awareness Day event on Thursday is part of our opioid response plan as well, within our overdose goal section of our response plan section. We try to move forward multiple events every single year that have education elements to them, naloxone distribution, education on overdose response, and this is the biggest event that we do on an annual basis. On Thursday, August 31st this week, we have an event at Heritage Park, downtown Olympia from 1 p.m. to 7 p.m. with a resource event from 1 to 5 p.m. with over 35 agencies participating, and then additional opportunities for memorializing folks who have been lost and learning how to reverse an overdose from 5 to 7 as well. Today I brought flyers, and we also have purple ribbon pins for everyone. The purple ribbon represents Overdose Awareness Day and recognizes those who have been lost from an overdose. So I just want to thank you again for doing the Overdose Awareness Day proclamation this year.
Thank you. Questions, comments, Commissioner Edwards?
I don't know that I have any questions, but I'd like the public to know what a serious problem this is, and I believe the most recent numbers that we have complete is, those are from 2022, and we had over 150 overdose deaths last year. So I would just like the public to know what a real serious problem this really is. And the lives that are damaged are untold, but just even though you might get revived, if you're without oxygen for a certain period of time, that part of it you never recover. So we've got some serious damage to our community being done. Unfortunately, it's coming out of China and Mexico mostly, and I really think we need to start paying attention. So thank you very much for coming in.
Commissioner Munster?
No, thank you, Katie. I just quickly, we pared some of our proclamations down this year but not this one. It's important, and it's a really, obviously it's a current issue that, it needs to be elevated right now. And I would give a plug for the event on Thursday because I've been to it in the past and it's a good event. So please, it's informative and fun and, important to part of that process of elevating awareness.
Thank you. I'm ready for a proclamation, sir.
Okay, Thurston County Proclamation, International Overdose Awareness Day. Whereas observed on August 31st every year, International Overdose Awareness Day seeks to create a better understanding of overdose, reduce the stigma of drug-related deaths, and create change that reduces the harms associated with drug use. And whereas overdose deaths occur in all communities among people from every walk of life. And whereas overdose deaths are preventable and can be caused by alcohol, over-the-counter medicines, stimulants, opioids, and other substances. And whereas, like many places across Washington State, we need to continue to treat drug-related harm as a public health issue and invest in best practices that save lives and build communities. And whereas anyone can visit the statewide resource, www.stopoverdose.org, to obtain naloxone, an opioid overdose reversal medication, and recovery helpline at 1-866-789-1511 for 24-hour information and help. And whereas Thurston County stands beside those who have lost loved ones to an overdose, those who have a substance use disorder, and those who are diligently working toward recovery. Now, therefore, be it resolved, the Thurston County Board of County Commissioners hereby proclaims August 31st, 2023 as International Overdose Awareness Day and encourages all community members to join in supporting persons in recovery. Adopted this 29th day of August, 2023 by the Board of County Commissioners.
Thank you, sir. And Katie will pass some information and flyers for us.
I'll take a big one.
Take a picture. Would you like
Kind
to
of
do
a sad
picture?
moment. I don't know if we
right?
need a
It-
picture
it
for a sad
is, but
moment.
I want to commemorate the,
Well, something we can use on our social media to
Sure, yeah.
honor the elevation of the issue.
Yep.
right.
Let's do her.
Right there.
What do you think, Doctor? Don't you think you ought to be in this picture? Huh? Come on. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, next is an opportunity for the public to address the board. The Board of Thurston County Commissioners welcomes comments from the public. However, there are some guidelines governing such comments to ensure they are appropriate and do not take advantage of the fact that most meetings are televised. The general speaking guidelines are as follows. Please introduce yourself, including the address you reside in the county. Please address the board, not the audience or staff. Please silence your cell phones for those members in the boardroom. Speakers are limited to a total of 4 minutes to address the board. Meeting attendees cannot donate their speaking time to another person. No comments that are lewd and offensive, inflammatory, hateful, defamatory, or discriminatory in nature. Please be respectful. No outbursts of any kind. No comments that are commercial in nature, such as promotion of a for-profit business. All materials provided to the county may be considered public records, subject to public release upon request pursuant to the Public Records Act, Chapter 4256 of the RCW, and no remarks about pending land use permits or similar matters that could eventually come before the board on appeal. Thank you for your cooperation. I will go through the sign-up sheet first, and then I do not see anyone on Zoom, but if someone joins on Zoom, then we'll go there, and then I'll ask if anyone would like to provide public testimony. First person on my list is John Pettit.
He won't be speaking today. He's stuck in traffic.
Next is Terry Ballard.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. My name's Terry Ballard. I'm a 35-year veteran, 29 active, and retired in 2012 in Tangawild, unincorporated Thurston County. I was just reading a paper on 8 June of 2023. This person stole $10,000 from the jail over credit cards and theft, and 53 counts of ID theft and one degree of theft, and gets 9 years in prison. Well, we've done a little bit more than that here in Thurston County. Homeless. Less than 800 per your health department is homeless in Thurston County. Why are we spending $20 million on homeless? Why are we spending anything on homeless? What are we doing to get homeless off the street? 80% of the homeless have a drug addiction. Additional 4% have a mental illness. Why are we not helping them with a path off of this crude way that they're living? So all we're doing is paying them, and paying them through subsidies of food, food and everything. If you're a veteran and you need Veterans Assistance Fund, you're required to be on a food program and be on Medicaid. Why aren't these homeless that we're helping transition to a hotel from the Hobby Lobby, which they're still there from last year? Why aren't we introducing them to a food program and to health care? We do it for the veterans before they can tap. Why don't we do it for the homeless? This seems very unfair. I just came up on the Housing Authority of Thurston County. They have over $27 million. They have 553 units, hundreds of dollars less for rents, and they don't get any assistance from us whatsoever per RCW 35.82. 5 out of the 6 Housing Authority of Thurston County Commissioners are appointed by you. And I was just wondering why we're not tapping that program, especially for the veterans. We came up with a veteran program that taps the individual veteran assistance fund for one guy to get off the street, one homeless person to get off the street. And that's all you have to do is really call this one number, and they'll put you in drug addiction. They'll put you in a program to get off the street. They'll put you in a training program, all free. Why are we paying for that? And also they're connected with the Thurston County Housing Authority, okay? They're connected with that and at no cost, but we're paying the cost for those veterans. Why are we tapping the fund? Are we tapping that veteran fund because we need to subsidize the social service department that you reduced from 15 personnel to 10? That's stupid, okay? Since all the indigent going to the hub and rent of $30K for the 3 years, for a year, for 3 years, came out of the veteran fund to justify, are they in a food program? Are they drawing Medicare or some type of health care? They're tapping the fund. You're all indigent, and that's the way it is. And as far as appointments is concerned with, they have to be appointed from the nationally recognized veterans organizations, not just a member. I asked plenty of time ago for these documents, and they do not exist. Thank you.
Next is Diane Perlman.
Thank you, Commissioner Mejia. Can you hear me? I guess I'm on. My name is Diane Perlman, and I live at 4035 116th Avenue Southeast, Olympia 98501. After sitting and listening to testimony, questions, and discussion at last week's public hearing of rates and charges, I felt compelled to share information both for the public record and also, hopefully, to make your task easier when you have your work session in September. For a little over 2 years, I've been regularly attending BOCC meetings. As I frequently review your agendas and meeting minutes, I've come to a new level of understanding and appreciation for the complex and enormous job you guys have. The volume of information that comes before you is staggering. My hope is that you will find the information I have today and the clarifying statements by Gary helpful. I've given each of you a packet, and in your packet you'll find hard copies of the Thurston County Environmental Health Division Water Quality Reports. In the 2 reports listed on their website, in 2018 to 19, the general water quality was listed as fair for Offutt Lake. And in the subsequent report for 2021, the report lists Offutt Lake, it had deteriorated to receive the classification of poor. In light of last week's public testimony that the weeds are not a problem and there's no sense of urgency, I hope this scientific documentation will help begin to show you that indeed there is a weed problem at Offutt Lake, and thus the reason to move forward with the LMD formation. Secondly, in your packet, you'll find our first Offutt Lake official lake survey that was done just a week or so ago, 8/17. During this 4-hour survey, many weeds were found, 2 weeds that are listed on the state of Washington invasive species category, both fragrant water lily and yellow flag iris. Additionally, 2 weeds were present in such quantity to classify them as nuisance weeds, and these are bigleaf pondweed and water nymph. The steering committee worked hard to learn the process of determining latitude and longitude of specific locations so the same survey can be repeated monthly as other LMDs are currently doing. We're in the process of conducting an analysis of the votes. While this is not ready to present to you today, it is interesting to note, in view of a letter that was read at last week's meeting, that out of a total 110 possible votes for Uplanders referenced in the letter, 60 of the people didn't even vote. And of the 50 who voted, 30 voted no and 20 voted yes. So the assertion by the president that he was speaking for 110 no votes is not correct. I'd like to end on a bit of good news. With the help of Cole Webster, our new aquatic resource specialist, we're in the midst of writing a grant to fund the scientific study that's required by the RCW. And if we're successful grant recipients, that will enable us to do this study a year before, if waiting for all the assessments to come in. In closing, everyone is entitled to their own opinion, and persons' perspectives influence that opinion. I realize that. It is my hope that this factual information will be helpful in differentiating fact from opinion as you're considering this in September. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Next is Gary Whitley.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. I'm Gary Whitley, and I live at 4035 116th Avenue Southeast, Olympia, 98501. I'm here today to speak about last week's public hearing on the role of rates and charges and provide corrections and clarifications. Remember, accusations and opinions are not facts, and repeating them does not make them true. Not liking the outcome of a public vote is not proof of a flawed or unfair process. There is currently only one outcome for any LMD vote in Washington State, and that is the weighted vote as prescribed by state law. To cite the number of yes or no votes before computing the weighted result is an attempt to falsely declare the outcome prior to the final calculation set forth in the law. Now I wish to address some false statements about the so-called secret behind doors process for creating our LMD. The county complied with all state laws about informing residents about the proposed LMD. Ballot results were posted on the Healthy Lakes website and our own website as soon as they were available. Our committee requested permission to attend a Bronson HOA board meeting to provide information and answer questions. That request was denied by their president. We also requested and were denied HOA contact information, impeding our communication to the HOA, which resulted in their members being less informed. Our committee did 3 mailings to all parcel owners in November 21, April 22, and May of 22. These mailings announced our public meetings, the petition signing, and showed the link to our website. A mailing sample and a current screenshot of our website are among the materials Diane provided to you today. And it talks about your upcoming meetings in September. We held 2 public meetings in January 22 at Fire Station 61 and 1 additional meeting at the Bronson Community Beach Club in June 22 at the request of an HOA member. We advertised and held 2 petition signature gathering public events in June of 22. Now I want to speak specifically about the false accusations made about LMD assessments. Our steering committee was aware and empathetic about the financial impact of any assessment to residents. That is why we created an assessment level for Uplanders that is the lowest in Thurston County. The 50% reduction of annual stormwater fees reduces the annual out-of-pocket expenses for Uplanders to just $35, which is $2.97 a month. In addition, senior and disabled citizens currently qualifying for a 95% property tax reduction also qualify for that same reduction on their assessment. That reduces their Uplander out-of-pocket expense to $2.75 for an entire year, or just 23 cents a month. A healthy lake improves the property values for all parcels within the LMD boundary, upland as well as lakefront. These property values increase whether the individual uses the lake or not. The Board of County Commissioners was required by law to determine if the OLMD petition was sufficient, in the public interest, and if the financing was feasible. You found all these conditions to be true and voted to let our LMD proceed to a public vote. None of the 9 public comments at the August 22nd hearing objected to the rates for their parcels being improperly or incorrectly applied as stipulated by law. There was a complaint that the assessment rates were not scientifically derived, in quotes. The truth is that there is no scientific rubric for setting LMD rates. The 4 LMDs in Thurston County have assessment rates based on categories of access, not usage. The Bronson president claimed to represent 110 HOA members that were against the LMD. The truth is that 40% of the Bronson Uplander votes were yes in favor of our position. I hope you consider all these facts when discussing our LMD. Thank you.
Thank you. Next is Dia Fields. And I'm still not seeing anyone on Zoom. Mr. Pettit, you are still in time. Would you like to provide public testimony, sir? Okay.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. My name is John Pettit. I live off of Rich Road in Southeast Olympia. Although I didn't get to manage to be here to watch anything, I understand there was another dog and pony show, letter of recognition from the state auditor. It's funny, I don't get any letters of recommendation from the State Patrol that I did a good job. I followed the laws, but it's part of the program that goes on here. The obvious purpose of a presentation of a letter is to hide the truth from the total failures and corruption of the Board of County Commissioners. Let me list some failures and corruption. The intentional failure to maintain the courthouse, the old courthouse building, the one on the hill, into a point of total disrepair. That's your job. That's a failure. The failure to provide viable employment packages through reasonable contracts for unions to provide a proper living wage for the feet on the ground workforce of the county. Also, the withholding of ARPA retention funds for employees. That's just outrageously cruel to hold off money away from people when the money wasn't from you, it was from the federal government to benefit these employees for putting up through the process. Unacceptable. It's a failure. The failure to properly prioritize and manage the county revenue and funds to provide adequate safety and enough sheriff deputies on the road. You have the money. It comes in. You get our property taxes all the time. There's enough there. You got to spend it right by prioritizing. The failure to provide a proper level of salary for nurses this last week, to provide care and education to new mothers and babies. Wow, taking the mother's milk right out of the baby's mouth. I have to be proud of that one. How about a failure to have land use policies which allow property owners to use and build their upon their property without delay and excessive cost? That's your duty. You aren't doing it. The failure to have social issues such as drugs, homelessness, and mental illness addressed and provided care and treatment. We've had no substantial gain in that topic. It's a nice hot topic to talk about. We care, but nothing's happening. The failure to protect the taxpayer dollars by requiring and following state laws and county procurement policy for expending $10 million on this privately owned building, which you also approve spending nearly $7,000 a day to rent. The people don't own it. It's ridiculous. All of these are failures of the majority of the Board of County Commissioners, not the county managers. You could have fired the managers long ago if it was their fault. But you're the decision makers. You're the ones who have made these decisions that have put us in this spot. You've approved every one of the named actions or deliberate inaction. You, as county commissioners, collect over $130,000 a year in salary. Maybe that's why you don't care about the employees of Thurston County or the taxpayer money. You don't have to. Actions and inactions speak louder than words. Take responsibility. If you think I'm wrong, tell everyone now. Your silence will be acknowledged.
Thank you.
Of your intentional failures.
Okay, with that, we conclude public comment. And moving on to the consent or county manager's update. So passing it to Robin.
Thank you, Commissioner. Have no announcements at this time.
Any questions?
No, ma'am. Oh, well, I would like to get a copy of Gary's. The good facts in there. Could I get a copy of that? Thank you. Email it to all. Sure. Thank you.
Okay, next. Okay. Moving on to the consent agenda, there's items 3A through 3D. Is there any item on the consent agenda that commissioners would like to remove?
No, ma'am.
I'm ready for a motion.
I move to approve consent items 3A through 3D.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. I'll call for the vote.
Commissioner Edwards?
Aye.
Commissioner Menzer? Commissioner Mejia?
Aye. Okay, moving to department items, item 4A from the auditor's office, approval of the voucher list.
Thank you, Commissioner. Robin Campbell, Assistant County Manager. This item is to approve payments made by the county during the week of August 14th. This is a department item rather than a consent item because there are payments made for this building, the atrium, included in the voucher list.
Thank you. Any questions?
No, ma'am.
Okay, I'm ready for a motion.
I move to approve the voucher list for the week of August 14th, 2023 for a combined amount of $1,802,685.45.
I'll second. It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion?
No, ma'am.
I'll call for the vote.
Commissioner Edwards?
Nay.
Commissioner Menzer? Commissioner Mejia?
Aye. Moving on to information technology, and Sherry has quite a list. She'll be here with us for a little bit. Item 5A, the ITCG Teams chat retention.
Thank you. Sherry Ilg, IT Director. Teams, which is one of the productivity tools in our Microsoft Office subscription, is the video conferencing solution we use throughout Thurston County. Teams has a chat functionality available, which allows for quick chats between end users. IT has the ability to automatically delete chats based on a schedule. We are deleting chats once they are at 30 days old. This guideline was developed to address the use of Teams chat as it relates to the public records retention requirements. The guideline states that team chats should remain transitory in nature and users must prevent any record with a retention requirement, users must preserve any record with a retention requirement in another location. I'm asking for approval for you to sign the Teams chat retention guideline.
Thank you. Any questions? Commissioner Edwards.
No, but I might mention at our our agenda setting this week and agenda setting last week, there would be more explanation if the public was interested. Thank you.
Thank you. Questions, Commissioner Menzer? No questions from me. I am ready for a motion.
I move to approve the Teams chat retention guidelines.
Okay. Is there a second?
Oh, second, yes. Sorry about that.
It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion?
No, ma'am.
I'll call for the vote.
Commissioner Edwards?
Aye.
Commissioner Menzer? Commissioner Mejia?
Aye. Okay, item 5B is the renewal of annual maintenance for ESRI, or ESRI.
I am seeking authorization to renew our ESRI contract in the amount of $152,913.65. ESRI's geospatial software is the backbone of our county GIS systems and is used daily to manage geospatial data required by many county offices and departments. This amount has been budgeted for 2023 and is in our IT rates. I can answer any of the questions you have.
Questions? Commissioner Edwards.
The cost of doing business, would that be a
Cost
good
of doing
explanation?
business, yes.
Thank you.
Questions, Commissioner Menzer?
No.
Okay, I'm ready for a motion.
I move to approve the one-year renewal of the Environmental Systems Research Institute, Inc. GIS software contract in the amount of $152,934.65 for the dates of September 4th, 2023 to September 3rd, 2024, and authorize the IT director to execute the contract and any amendments that do not exceed 10%.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion?
No, ma'am.
I'll call for the vote.
Commissioner Edwards?
Aye.
Commissioner Menzer?
Aye.
Commissioner Mejia?
Aye. Moving on to item 5C is the renewal of annual maintenance and license true up for Rapid 7 intrusion detection and response IDR.
Thank you. I am seeking authorization to renew our Rapid7 intrusion detection software maintenance agreement in the amount of $52,289.54. The Rapid7 IDR solution is meant to help us monitor our network for any unexpected activity. As you know, the sooner we can identify it, the more quickly we can respond. The amount has been budgeted for 2023 and is in our IT rates.
Thank you. Any questions, Commissioner Edwards?
No questions, thank you.
Questions, Commissioner Menzer? No questions for me. I'm ready for a motion.
Move to approve the one-year renewal of the Rapid7 IDR software for current service extension in the amount of $52,289.54 and authorize the IT director to execute the agreement and any amendments that do not exceed 10% per year for up to 5 years.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion?
No, ma'am.
I'll call for the vote.
Commissioner Edwards?
Aye.
Commissioner Menzer?
Aye.
Commissioner Mejia?
Aye. Okay, item 5D, renewal of annual maintenance for JAVS, Justice Audio Visual Systems.
Thank you. I am seeking authorization to renew our annual maintenance agreement for JAVS in the amount of $88,422.35. JAVS is the Justice Audio Visual System solution being used in Superior District and Family Courtrooms and the jail for audio recordings and video conferencing capability. This amount has been budgeted for 2023 and is in our IT rates.
Thank you. Any questions, Commissioner Edwards?
No, ma'am.
Questions, Commissioner Menzer?
No.
No questions for me. I'm ready for a motion.
Move to approve the annual renewal of the JAVS maintenance contract in the amount of $88,422.35 and authorize the IT director to execute the agreement and any amendments do not exceed 10% per year for up to 5 years.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion?
No, ma'am.
I'll call for the vote.
Commissioner Edwards?
Aye.
Commissioner Menzer?
Aye.
Commissioner Mejia?
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, Public Defense. Item 6A is the approval of a contract for the State of Washington Office of Public Defense.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. Patrick O'Connor, Director of Thurston County Public Defense, here to ask the board to approve a contract between Thurston County Public Defense and the State Office of Public Defense for attorney representations for indigent clients involuntarily committed pursuant to a finding of not guilty by reason of insanity under RCW 1077, starting September 1, 2023, and authorizing the director to sign said contract. A little bit of background for the Commissioner for the Public. Thurston County Public Defense has done this work for many, many years. Individuals that are acquitted due to a plea of not guilty by reason of insanity are entitled to counsel, right to counsel, and if they're indigent, assigned to our office, which is the majority of these individuals. Individuals can be committed for anywhere from 5 years on a Class C felony to 10 years on a Class B felony and life on a offense that has a statutory maximum of life. And individuals are committed to either Eastern State Hospital or Western State Hospital. So our office has done this work for many, many years. Our trial attorneys have done this work for many, many years, including myself. The recent legislation that was passed this year essentially amended the statute in RCW 1077.250 subsection 3, and the state divested all responsibility, financial obligations, and responsibility to State Office of Public Defense to pay for these services. State Office of Public Defense sent out statewide opportunities for defender offices such as ours to submit a request to be funded. We did, and that's what the contract reflects. This contract has been reviewed by Civil Division and approved, so I'm asking the board to approve this and allow me to move this forward for the county. Ultimately, this saves actually some county dollars because our trial attorneys will not be doing these representations as part of their normal caseload. So it's a good opportunity for the county, it's a good opportunity for our clients, and I'd ask for your support.
Thank
Happy
you.
to answer any questions.
Any questions, Commissioner Edwards?
No questions. I might add that we had quite an extensive discussion this morning on this particular topic. Thank you, Pat.
Yes, and I appreciate the board moving a little quick on this because the funds are available and we're trying to move it forward really quickly.
Thank you. Questions, Commissioner Menzer?
Director O'Connor, the county commissioners often seem like we're most interested in the dollars and cents, and that's obviously a huge part of our responsibility is budget and dollars and cents. But is this going to increase the quality of representation for those folks that are in that position of not guilty by reason of insanity and then committed? And can you kind of explain how that works?
Absolutely. I'm very excited personally. I've been a public defender my entire career. I have represented many individuals and currently have a client that's in these proceedings. They are hyper-technical. They are not the garden variety types of cases that we deal with. They're complex. They take place, we have clients at Western State Hospital in a system that's outside our normal business. And with that right to counsel, we've been assigning those cases. And every time trial attorneys sort of start again from scratch in relearning the law in this very highly technical specific area. So personally, as the director of this department, I'm very excited to have a dedicated attorney with this specific expertise and knowledge, not only to represent the clients and exclusively work in this industry, but to get to know the law even better than myself, to be candid, and most of our attorneys. What we've seen from some jurisdictions around the state that have invested local dollars, not under this new opportunity, attorneys that specialize in this work are much better results, frankly, on behalf of the clients. And I think the system, the justice system, benefits because you're having defense counsel that specializes in this work to expedite hearings, et cetera. So I can tell you our department's really excited about this because it's opportunities for obviously perhaps an internal candidate to fill this opportunity, but really to be a source of expertise within our department because we need that resource as well. So
in these
it's
kind of
long ways of saying absolutely.
Okay.
Probably could have been brief.
In these kind of hearings, is there a prosecutor involved?
There is, yes.
Does the prosecutor have, are they dedicated, are they felony trial attorneys that are doing this work on the side, or are they dedicated attorneys that work only in this area?
The former. So this change in the law only specifically funds State Office of Public Defense to invest in defender offices that are willing to dedicate the resources to this work. So I don't think, I'm not aware of.
So we have Thurston County prosecutors that are doing, trial attorneys that are doing some of this work?
Correct, yes. They represent the state.
County by county?
County by county, correct.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Thank you. I don't have any questions. I'm ready for a motion.
I move to approve of the contract with the State of Washington Office of Public Defense for attorney representation for indigent clients involuntarily committed pursuant to a finding of not guilty for reason of insanity under Chapter 10.77 RCW, starting September 1st, 2023, and authorize the Director of Public Defense to sign the contract.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Any discussion?
I'll just say, if I could, Madam Chair, that I serve the Washington State Association of Counties on the Community Advisory Board for the Office of Public Defense. And a former Thurston County felony attorney, Larry Jefferson, is the director. He's been very aggressive in going after resource streams to deal with these specialized areas of law and helping counties with different types of programming. We have some Blake funding, this, that, and the other. And in the meetings, every time I raise my hand and say, before I even raise my hand, Director Jefferson says, Commissioner Mentor, your director has already inquired about this funding opportunity. So I'm all that to say thank you to Pat for being on top of this stuff and these new opportunities. I know there's a couple other programs that you're pursuing on behalf of Thurston County. Some of the other counties don't even know that stuff's going on, and every time I try to make sure, you're already on top of it, so thank you.
You bet. It's my duty.
This is good stuff, and I think the Office of Public Defense is expanding its purview, and that's a good thing because it creates equity across the state. Leaving things by county basis when we have such big counties and such little counties with different funding financial models doesn't always adequately ensure that clients and defendants get equal representation in every corner of Washington State, which is what we're trying to do.
Thank you. Okay, that will conclude discussion, and I'll call for the vote.
Commissioner Edwards?
Aye.
Commissioner Menzer?
Aye.
Commissioner Mejia?
Aye.
Thank you, Chair.
Okay, moving on to Public Health and Social Services, item 7A, Lived Experience Housing Steering Committee contract.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. Keely Marino with Public Health and Social Services and Thurston County Homeless Response Program Manager. Here today to seek approval to approve a contract between the county and Partners in Prevention Education to fund the administration and the facilitation of the Lived Experience Housing Steering Committee for the amount of $50,000 and to authorize the Director of Public Health and Social Services to sign the contracts and any amendments that do not change the approved dollar amount or duration by more than 10%. So some background, that it is a national reality and a local reality that Black, Indigenous people of color are disproportionately impacted by poverty and homelessness. In fact, this year, the United States Intra-Agency Council on Homelessness, or USICH, released its updated federal strategic plan for ending homelessness, which is entitled All Inside. In recognition of needing to include people with lived experience, they interviewed over 500 people with lived experience to create those strategies for their plan. It is seen as a best practice in addressing homelessness. In 2021, the Regional Housing Council approved a set aside of $2163 for the purpose of funding an effort to decrease racial disparities in our system, as well as to vet strategies in our 5-year homeless plan, which is, as you may recall, a requirement in our plan to reduce racial disparities in our homeless crisis response system. In 2022, Confluence Consulting Northwest was awarded that plan to develop this Lived Experience Steering Committee, which named itself subsequently Lived Experience Housing Steering Committee. They've been guiding that process for the last year and a half. Their contract is coming to an end, as is their duties as assigned. And so in this year's consolidated RFP, or request for proposals for homeless services, there was again another set aside $50,000 for an agency to continue the facilitation of this group. On June 20th of 2023, during the award recommendation approvals, Interfaith Works was identified and approved to be the agency to facilitate this, to execute this contract and facilitate this group. After careful consideration, very thoughtful consideration and consultation with our office, the Office of Housing and Homeless Prevention, as well as with the Lived Experience Steering Committee members and the consultants, Interfaith Works decided that at this time they did not have the capacity to execute the contract to the level of support that the Lived Experience Steering Committee is already has supporting them. The only other agency that did apply for those funds was Partners in Prevention Education. There were two, Interfaith Works, Partners in Prevention Education. They both scored very close to each other. They had very high scores. And in good faith, we reached out to see if Partners in Prevention would be interested in taking the contract, facilitating this group. They agreed. On the 21st of August, they presented to the Homeless Services Advisory Board, which made a recommendation to approve them to take the contract for the Lived Experience Housing Steering Committee. And again, on August 23rd, the Regional Housing Council also approved the recommendation for Partners in Prevention Education to move forward with this contract. So today we're hoping that you will also approve this recommendation for Partners in Prevention Education to take the Lived Experience Housing Steering Committee contract. It is funded through $2163, which are document recording fees specific to homeless services. The contract will begin on September 1st of 2023. It's for 1 year with an expectation of renewal for the biennium. And I will stop there. So I'm happy to answer any questions at this time.
Thank you, Keely. Questions, Commissioner Edwards?
No questions, thank you.
Questions, Commissioner Menzer? No questions for me. I'm ready for a motion.
I move to approve the contract between county and Partners in Prevention Education to fund administration and facilitation of the Lived Experience Housing Steering Committee for the amount of $50,000 and authorize the Director of Public Health and Social Services to sign the contracts and any amendments that do not change the approved dollar amount or duration by more than 10%.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion?
No, ma'am.
I'll call for the vote.
Commissioner Edwards?
Aye.
Commissioner Mensah? Commissioner Mejia?
Aye.
Thank you.
Okay, that will conclude our department items. We will move on with our standing items. Item 8A, Commissioners will report on board work sessions and assigned committee meetings, providing updates on actions taken as well as upcoming issues. Commissioner Edwards, we will start with you.
The joint Lacey City Council Thurston County meeting that you all attended here. And mostly, issues over annexations and the joint plan were discussed. And I might say that my week was really pretty well used up over land use and environmental compliance issues, water quality, and veteran services. Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions for Commissioner Edwards? No? Okay, go ahead, Commissioner Munster.
Okay, I attended Chehalis Basin Partnership on Friday. That meeting involved a lengthy presentation from consultants about the Trans Alta Water Bank and the request from Chehalis and Centralia to use about a third of that bank for its municipal purposes. And then they had to do a very complex analysis to show why the water being banked at that from the Trans Alta, the dam location, is in hydrological connection with and therefore would connect to and mitigate for use by the cities of Centralia and Chehalis. So that was pretty interesting. Climate Action Steering Committee held its last meeting as the Climate Action Steering Committee, the last meeting supported by TRPC. The new ILA, which you heard about this morning, is going to change the name of the whole operation to the Climate Collaborative. And the Executive Committee, which will now, the steering committee will be called the Executive Committee, and we will only meet quarterly. So our next meeting is in October. I met over the weekend with the chair of the King County Council to discuss areas of mutual concern about mature complex forests. He had recently done a walk of Capitol State Forest, and King County has done letters of opposition to cuts of older trees in King County, citing climate change concerns and lack of DNR analysis of climate change impacts, a la the lawsuit that Jefferson County was successful on earlier this year. So that was interesting to compare notes, and we'll be in touch as the boards work through the various issues involved there. Also attended the Sentencing Guideline Commission Subcommittee meeting with Representative Goodman involved. We are working through re-ranking of Class B offenses to the new proposed grid that will be before the legislature this upcoming session. They've got new ranges for each category, and now we're taking the offensives and making sure they're logically, what we're doing is basically we have data showing what the average and the average sentence for every given offense when it's the highest level offense and the range, and then we have a matching grid where we see, okay, if that were left at the same seriousness level, will it be out of whack with the new sentencing ranges, therefore necessitating a bump up or down? We're not trying to necessarily rethink the grid. We're trying to integrate the new ranges with the old seriousness levels. And if we have policy recommendations, we'll make those as a separate matter. But this is all being done in 4 subcommittees and then integrated and coordinated into a report by the Sentencing Guideline Commission by the end of the year. So that's a lot of work, and we're hard at work at it.
Thank you. Any questions for Commissioner Munster?
No, sir. No, ma'am.
I attended the Tenino Stone Carvers tours last Tuesday, and I guess, and I've just had internal meetings with staff as well as with constituents, and I had the Regional Housing Council meeting. But this will be a lengthier discussion that we should have at Commissioners check-in, just because there are some recommendations that were moved forward, so. Okay. Next, the county manager will review, or the assistant county manager will review the Board of County Commissioners schedule for the week of August 29th, 2023.
Thank you, Commissioner. This is your schedule for the upcoming week as it exists at this time. These are items that are on the calendar of at least 2 commissioners. You may have other appointments on your individual calendars. So coming up, Wednesday, August 30th at 8:30, you have the additional Shoreline Master Plan public hearing follow-up. At 11:30 is the employee potluck, celebrating the end of summer. At 2 o'clock tomorrow is the CPA 1 City of Yelm and Thurston County Joint Plan update. At 2:30 is the CPED, that is our Community Planning and Economic Development Department State of the Department briefing. On
that-
Thursday, yes?
Sorry, is that scheduled from 2:30 to 5?
That is what it says, yes.
Got it.
On Thursday, August 31st at 9 o'clock is the IT or Information Technology State of the Department briefing. At 10 o'clock is your commissioner's check-in. At 1:30 on Thursday, the hearing examiner's decision appeal. At 2:45, an executive session is scheduled regarding high definition homes LLC reasonable use exemption appeal. And at 4 o'clock on Thursday, you have the 8th annual harvest celebration at the Family and Juvenile Court. On Friday at 1 o'clock is the jail reduction team meeting. I believe that's what JRT stands for.
Jail resource team.
Thank you. Jail resource team meeting. And then Monday, September 4th, the county offices are closed in recognition of Labor Day. And then we're back here at the atrium at 9:15 on September 5th, Tuesday, for your agenda setting, and the week starts again.
Assistant County Manager, you mentioned something at FJC on Thursday, 4 o'clock, did you say?
Yes, that's the 8th annual harvest celebration.
Okay, I was not on my calendar, so is my seatmates attending that?
Yes.
What is it exactly?
It's the annual harvest celebration at FJC. One second, I'll look for the invitation. It was sent by their juvenile court administrator.
It's where the kids involved in juvenile court have a garden.
They sent it August
We go out
9th.
to the garden? and-
Yeah, so
Okay,
this
yeah.
is our 8th year providing produce to our local food bank. So the 4 p.m. youth-led garden tours and refreshments, and at 4:30 program acknowledgement to our
Yep.
partners.
I've been there. Okay, thank you. Put it on my calendar.
All right, okay, thank you. Okay, with that, it is 3:12. We are adjourned. Thank you.